Welcome back, guys, to another Friday Gamer Log. As usual, I'll be talking about the games that I've been playing, games that will be coming up in the direct future for YouTube, and any games that I have bought or want to buy. So, without further ado, let's get this thing started. Alright, I decided to make some more progress in Super Mario Sunshine over this last week. The last time that I played Sunshine, I just finished collecting the shine sprites at the Bianco Hills area. Once I finished that off, the game was showing me this submarine over here, so I made my way to the submarine, and that's whenever this cutscene here happened. And once the cutscene was over, I shot Mario out of a cannon to the island that Bowser Jr. went to, and that's whenever this little cutscene here happened, with Bowser Jr. going inside of like a Bowser Godzilla type robot, which is pretty cool. I had a boss battle in this stage, which was a lot of fun. You get to ride on a roller coaster and fire missiles at that gigantic Bowser Godzilla-like robot. This was a really well thought out boss battle in my opinion, and I really enjoyed it. As soon as that boss battle was over, I made my way to the blue coin stand to turn in the blue coins that I collected up to this point. I had 30 blue coins, so I was able to buy 3 shine sprites with those, so that was really nice. I also went ahead and copied and pasted a checklist for blue coins, that way I can make sure that I'm not missing any as I go through the game, because I don't want to be at the end of the game and not know what blue coins I'm still missing. That's always kind of annoying in certain games like this. As far as the run of Mega Man Battle and Chase is concerned, I did a little bit more work in that this week. I defeated Dr. Wily for the 4th time and got the body parts of his vehicle. I haven't had any more challenges from the Black Troop in a while though, and I'm not sure what I gotta do to make them appear. I've read that it's random, and I've also read that you have to do a certain button combination as the start lights appear. Like you have to hold down the gas as the first light appears, then let go of it during the second light, then hold it again during the third light. But I've done that a whole bunch of times and they still have not challenged me, so I think that it's random personally. Here's all the parts that I got so far. As you can see, I just need those last 2 extra parts from the Black Troop, and then I'll have all the parts collected, which will be nice. As far as the run of Super Mario RPG is concerned, I made a little bit more progress in that. I worked my way through Booster Pass and then arrived at Booster Tower. That's whenever I found Bowser, who was crying, and he's pretty upset about having lost his keep and his troops and everything. So after a little bit more scripted stuff with Bowser, he eventually destroyed the door to Booster's Tower so we could gain access. Then after that, he quote-unquote let us join the Koopa Troop, which is just his way of saying, let me join you and your party. So yeah, Bowser joined the party, and then we entered Booster's Tower and climbed that up some. I got some more equipment as I climbed the tower, including the Zoom Shoes, the Masher for Mario, as well as the Chomp for Bowser. And as I climbed up the tower, I met up with Booster a couple of times. Here's the first time that I met him. He apparently liked some trains. I really like Booster's Tower, though. It's one of my favorite parts in the game. I just think that's a really cool place to climb. One of my favorite rooms in the tower is this one right here with these magical retro curtain things, where if you go behind him it makes Mario his Super Mario Bros. 1 8-bit self. Just a really cool room, and I like that if you try to leave like that he freaks out and he goes back to being normal. As I climbed Booster's Tower, I came across this room right here. I thought that I remembered the order of these portraits, but apparently it's been so long since I last played this game that I kind of forgot, so it took me several tries before I finally got the correct order. But for getting the correct order, I got this key which let me get into a room where a Chain Chomp was jailed up, and that wound up being Bowser's next weapon, which was really cool. I crossed paths with Booster a couple more times as I was climbing up the tower. The first time he tried to throw some bob-ombs down at me, but those were easily avoided thanks to a convenient hiding spot. The second time he's trying to find his Mario doll so that he could practice for his wedding, do his wedding rehearsal. He thought that it was behind these curtains, so he had to sniff it to try finding it, which started this little mini-game here where I had to hide from them. I was never caught, but eventually Booster did open up the last curtain and find me. He started crying because he found his Mario doll and it was up too high for him to reach. You can choose to either battle Booster or get the Mario doll down. I went in and just got the Mario doll down. And after that, he went on with his wedding. He went ahead and quit with the wedding rehearsals, even though he never tried to rehearse with the Mario doll, but whatever. After all that was done, I had my next boss battle of the game against Knife Guy and Crate Guy. The battle against him wasn't too bad. I had Geno use Geno Boost on all 3 of the warriors, and I had Mallow occasionally use HP Rain. Other than that, though, I just had all the characters attack physically. Once the battle against Knife Guy and Crate Guy was done, I had to do this little mini-game here called Booster Hill. I didn't do too bad at it. I scored 6 additional flower points. That's not too bad. Once the minigame was done, I arrived at Merrymore, where I had to crash Booster's wedding with Peach, with the help of Bowser, of course. Whenever we broke in, we knocked a whole bunch of stuff off of Peach, which I had to run around and collect. After that was done, it cued a cutscene where Peach was supposed to kiss me, but things didn't quite go as planned. I got kissed by Booster, and also by Bowser. Yeah. Peach got some amusement out of that, though, said that that's one for the scrapbook. Once we were done crashing the wedding, the cooks showed up with the cake, which, as it turns out, the cake was alive, scared off the cooks that we were originally fighting. Then I had to battle the cake itself. I switched Geno out for Bowser, because I figured that Bowser's physical attributes would be a little more useful in this battle. Overall, it was really easy. I just had everybody attack physically constantly, and occasionally had Mallow use HP Rain. As soon as I defeated the cakes, the Sniffets fed it to Booster, and then the battle was over for good. Oddly enough, Booster doesn't seem too upset by not being able to marry Peach anymore. I guess he's just happy to have cake now. Anyway, we returned Peach to the Mushroom Kingdom after all that was over, and she decided that she wanted to join us, but the Chancellor said no. She wound up coming with us anyway. I always make Peach a permanent member of my party after she's joined because she's such a great healer. And of course you can't change Mario out either, so I always wind up just changing it out between Mallow, Geno, and Bowser, and I always had Mario and Peach in the party, and that's always worked really well for me. After everything was done at the Mushroom Kingdom, I made my way back here to Tadpole Pond, where Frog Fuchsius told us about the next star being located on Star Hill, so I made my way there and climbed it. Oddly enough, this star does not have any Smithy Guardian protecting it or anything, or showing up to fight you. I guess the cake was supposed to count as this chapter's boss. I really like that you can actually go around and check out some of the stars that are on Star Hill, and you can see some of the people's wishes. And I also really like that one of the wishes is actually Mallow's, and he wishes to not be such a crybaby anymore, and he actually gets mad at you for reading that, which is kind of funny. I just really like that. It's just kind of a nice little detail. I'm kind of surprised that the developers didn't put a Starman somewhere on Star Hill, considering the name of this area. I guess they just kind of figured that this area was short enough as it was, and so it would have made the area a little too easy, I guess. I went ahead and returned to the Mushroom Kingdom after I got the 4th star, and I went ahead and healed up and saved and quit there. I decided over the past week that I wanted to play through another Pikmin game because it had been quite some time since I went through one, so I went in and picked up Pikmin II, and so far I went through all the intro cutscenes where it shows that Olimar's company is now massively in debt and they had to sell off his ship. Then, of course, they find out that one of the treasures that he brought back from the Pikmin's home planet, which, of course, to us is just trash, is apparently worth a whole lot on his planet. As soon as Olimar's boss found out how much his treasure was worth and that there was even more of it back on the Pikmin's home planet, he went ahead and sent Olimar back to the Pikmin's planet, along with Louie, of course. Unfortunately for Olimar, he had another rough landing as he approached the planet once again, just like he did in the first game. This time he ran into a tree that he couldn't see because of a big blizzard, which knocked Louie out of his cockpit and separated the two captains for a little while. As soon as he landed, Olimar came across a group of red Pikmin trying to fight off a Bulborb, which of course I called them to me and I assisted them in destroying the creature. It didn't take too long to get the two captains reunited, and Louie actually got to discover red Pikmin while he was on his own, which led to a pretty funny and cute cutscene with a red Pikmin trying to follow Louie and Louie trying to outrun it. And like I said before, it didn't take too long to get the two captains reunited. Once they were regrouped, I had them use their combined Pikmin armies to haul the first treasure in the game back to the ship, which was a Duracell battery, or as the game likes to call it, a Courage reactor. I really like the different names that the game comes up with for the various treasures that you find. A lot of them are pretty clever and funny. As soon as I finished hauling the battery back to the ship that ended day 1 automatically, I knew that I'd be going through a dungeon at the start of day 2, so I went ahead and focused on building up my red Pikmin army. I couldn't enter the first dungeon right away because there was a big wall blocking the path, and I also found another treasure while I was running around building up my red Pikmin army, so I split the Pikmin into 2 groups and had one group work on destroying the wall while I had the other group bring back the next treasure to the ship. The treasure wound up being called Utter Scrap, which is exactly what it is, it's just a crushed can. As soon as the Pikmin got the treasure to the ship, I went ahead and brought those Pikmin back over to the wall and had them help destroy it. Once the wall was destroyed, I went ahead and entered the first dungeon of the game, which was where I discovered the first of 2 new Pikmin types here in Pikmin II, which was the purple Pikmin. I'm always really careful whenever I have purple and white Pikmin because you can't just build them up normally. You can only get them by throwing your other Pikmin into buds of the same color, of purple or white buds. And while I was in the first dungeon of the game, I found my first big treasure of the game, which was called the Spherical Atlas, which obviously is just the world map. And once I got that, it opened up another area to go and travel to. And so I went ahead and finished off the dungeon. I left, and that went ahead and ended off day 2 automatically. Upon starting up day 3, I decided to go and check out the new area, so I flew over to the Awakening Wood. I went in and killed some more enemies and built up my red Pikmin army some more. And I also explored around and got a couple more treasures, and I also had the Pikmin make a couple of sprays, which are new here in Pikmin 2. You make the sprays by collecting berries. Every 10 berries that you find will create a spray. There are 2 different sprays, an ultra spicy one and an ultra bitter one. The ultra spicy one is created by bringing back red berries, and that makes Pikmin twice as fast and twice as strong. The ultra bitter spray will turn enemies to stone, so they're both about equally useful. I also found my first batch of nectar while I was exploring around, which automatically matures Pikmin from leaf to flower, which is really nice. While I was exploring around, I found my first of the treasures in the outdoor area here in the Awakening Wood, so of course I had the Pikmin take that back to the ship, which to us it's just a regular old strawberry, but here in Pikmin 2 it's known as the Sunseed Berry. Like I said before, I just really like the names that they come up with. They're really clever and funny in my opinion. After I collected the strawberry, the game revealed to me that 10% of my debt had been recovered, which was really nice. I continued to explore around the Awakening Wood a little more, and that's whenever I came across the first dungeon in this area, which is known as the Hole of Beasts. I entered this dungeon and went through it, and in this dungeon I found some more nectar, which I used to finish maturing the rest of my Pikmin that were still leaves into flowers. I used an ultra spicy spray whenever I got to the boss of this dungeon. I didn't quite remember how to approach this enemy, so I lost about a third of my Pikmin in a single attack. Thankfully, though, I left my purple Pikmin out of the battle because, like I said, I'm always really careful with my purple and white Pikmin because you can't just get them anywhere. Once I had taken that first hit and lost about a third of my Pikmin, I was a lot more careful and I didn't lose any more after that. Upon defeating this enemy, I got my next big treasure of the game. This treasure is actually one of the best ones that you'll find in the entire game. It's basically like a metal detector for all the other treasures that you'll find. The closer that you get to a treasure, the more that this thing will react. And if there aren't any treasures in an area, it'll tell you that too. So overall, this is one of the best treasures that you'll find in this game, in my opinion. I've been making sure to collect all the treasures on my first trip through all the dungeons, because I don't want to have to do any backtracking to collect anything that I missed. As soon as I was done in the Hole of Beasts, I made my way to the next dungeon, which is known as the White Flower Garden, which, as I'm sure you can guess by the name, is where you encounter the white Pikmin for the first time. The white Pikmin are actually my favorite ones in this game, for a lot of reasons. They're poisonous, so if any enemies eat them, then it does a lot of damage to them. They're the fastest, they got the radar eyes, and they're just really cool overall, in my opinion. White Pikmin are definitely my favorite ones. I didn't lose many Pikmin to the boss of this area, because the boss of this area is an enemy that you have to fight in Pikmin 1 as well, so I was pretty familiar with how to deal with that enemy. For defeating him, I got the 5-man knapsack, which lets Olimar and Louie take naps, so that's kinda nice, but not the most useful treasure either. I left the White Flower Garden after I defeated the boss, and like I said before, I made sure to collect all the treasures. I got 7 out of 7 treasures that were in the dungeon. Day 3 was almost over as soon as I finished the dungeon, so I went in and just ended off day 3 and I went ahead and saved and quit after that. As far as the run of Final Fantasy IV The After Years is concerned, I did another run through Cain and Theodor's challenge dungeon this week, but I didn't get anything special from the treasure. I just got a high potion, which kinda sucks. I really hate it whenever I go through a challenge dungeon only to get a stupid item like that, like a potion or a tent or a high potion, just something that I can buy in a store. I really hate it whenever that happens. As far as the Mind Flayer hunting and Radius chapter is concerned, as usual, I still don't have it, and I've been putting more work into it. We'll get it eventually, though. Like I've said, it's just a rare drop. Just gotta be patient with it. As far as Pokemon Shuffle is concerned, I put a little more time into that, as much time as the game will let me anyway. Most of this week I focused on just trying to S-rank all the Pokemon that I fought up to this point, as well as catching as many of them as I could. And I've made pretty good progress with that. I haven't S-ranked all of them, but I've S-ranked most of them, up until the higher levels anyway. I also worked on a couple of the expert stages. I haven't S-ranked any of them, but I have caught a couple of the Pokemon like Charizard and Venusaur. I also put a little bit of time into the special stages as well. I'm not too worried about S-ranking these ones because they're limited time only sort of thing, but I have captured all the Rotoms as well as Kyogre, so that's pretty nice. As far as video game purchases is concerned, I downloaded Rusty's Real Deal Baseball a long time ago, but I just now got around to playing it this past week, and I really enjoyed what I got to play of it. So I went ahead and bought the first little mini game. I haggled the price down to $2, and I thought, oh, what the heck, I may as well go ahead and get it. And I've really enjoyed what I played of it so far. So far I've completed most of the stages. I only have one more left to do, and I've also A-graded most of them as well, most of the basic ones anyway. I still have a little bit of work to do on the advanced challenges, but it's been really fun so far. I've also really enjoyed the story quite a bit. The story's been really good in this game, especially for a free-to-play game. These UFO stages can be a lot of fun to play, but trying to A-grade them can be a total pain in the butt. Coming up this week as far as YouTube gaming is concerned, we're going to be making more progress in the blind run of Metroid the Other M for the Nintendo Wii. Alright, time for the question of the week. The question of the week this week is for all you Kirby fans out there. The question of the week this week is, what is your favorite Kirby ability? Do you like melee abilities like Beam and Sword, or do you prefer projectile abilities like Laser? How about limited use abilities like Crash and Mike? What is your favorite Kirby ability? And don't forget that if you'd like to submit your own question of the week, please feel free to do so. Just remember to submit it through a PM and not a comment. Any questions submitted through comments will not be included in next Friday's Gamer Log. So yeah, that's what I've been playing over the past week. I was actually kinda hoping to have Mega Man Battle and Chase finished, but the Black Troop isn't showing up. Hopefully they won't take too much longer, or hopefully I can figure out a trick to make them show up. There's nothing really new to report in Animal Crossing City Folk either. I didn't have any visitors and I didn't get any new items or anything, so there's nothing new to report for Animal Crossing. Whatever the case though, keep an eye out for some more in the blind run of Metroid the Other M coming up this week. And well, that is it for this Friday's Gamer Log, and I'll see you guys next Friday. Thank you for watching.